Hello there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm bringing you another global monthly video hop. And this month's theme is techniques. So I'm going to show you a couple different techniques while I recreate this card for you. One of the techniques is the masking tape technique, and the other one I'm going to show you is the coloring with blocks technique. So I'm going to change it up slightly to show those to you. This is using the new set from the Stampin' Up annual catalog, the Meadow bundle, the Quiet Meadow bundle, which has a stamp set, lots of lovely images and sayings there, and it has these words that look like they're faded out and they're meant to look that way, as well as the dies. Now the dies don't match anything in the stamp set, so they don't cut out any of the images, but the words on there will fit in the little banner die. But the other dies are like silhouettes of different plants, and there's a little tag die and some butterfly dies, etc. So I'm going to be showing you how to use those. And we will also be using the new in colors that have just come out this year. So Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, Pale Papaya, Fresh Freesia, and Polished Pink. So that's how I get the background. So those are the colors I'm using there. I'm going to change it up slightly for this video, so it'll be slightly different cards. So let me move everything and get ready to go. So this set can be found on page 110 of the new annual catalog from Stampin' Up. So let's get ready. So what you'll need is a card base. This time I'm using the Evening Evergreen, and I chose to do it long ways. So this is the portrait view as opposed to having it open the other way. So Evening Evergreen background, and then if you have a dark background, you'll need a white cardstock for the inside of the card and a white cardstock for the outside of the card that's just slightly smaller. So in this case, my card width is 10.5 centimeters by 14.85, and the white is 10 centimeters by 14.3. And then you'll need masking tape. Now, it's best to use something like painter's tape. You want a low tack tape for this because you don't want it to stick hard and peel off your cardstock. So it needs to be low tack. Painter's tape is excellent for that because it's not meant to stick permanently. If you want, you could use washi tape. That's another one that's not meant to stick permanently. Washi tape would give you different widths. But I've stuck with a painter's tape. This is just some brand here in New Zealand, and I have lots of it because I've been doing painting of the outside of the house lately. You'll need your colors, and I have already gone ahead and die cut the floral images from the Meadow dies. So I've got 5 different die cuts there. And for this one, I've decided instead of doing the big banner, I'm going to use the little tag. There's a little die for the little tag, so I'm going to use that. And I might be using a butterfly, I'm not sure yet. So with my original card, I colored everything using the Stampin' Right pens. So the in color Stampin' Right pens right there. And so I colored the images with that. And with some of them, the darker part, I simply colored the whole thing one layer and then just went over again with the same colored pen, and it just gives a darker image, and did some outlining where I thought the petals would go. And so that's how I got those images. Don't really like that butterfly, but so that's how I did the original one. I colored it with the Stampin' Right pens. You could color it with your blends, but using the Stampin' Right, you can just go over multiple times to get more depth and darkness of the same color. So those were the 5 in colors used on that card. But I'm going to show you a different way, much quicker way to do your coloring. So let me just move a few things out. So the only other thing I'm going to use for the inside of the card, I'm using the saying from the Dragonfly Garden set, "May good things grow all year long." So that's going to be on the inside. So I just need to move a few things, clear the deck, so to speak. So what you need is your images. And I will do the inside, stamp the inside of the card first. I'll go ahead and stamp the inside, and I think I will give it the Evening Evergreen color for the inside. And I always turn it over. If it's red rubber, I gently tap and then turn it over to make sure I've inked everything and I haven't got ink around the outside edges. And you should always stamp first, ink your paper first before you stick it down in case something goes awry, it doesn't stamp very well, or you get smudges where you don't want them. Now that looks quite good. Okay, so ink before you stick. And it's always good to clean things as you go so you don't accidentally stick something on a dirty stamp. Now I thought I might do some of the images in some of the little floral bits on the inside as well. So I'm going to go with just a few of the colors here. Got the fresh freesia. Pop a few. And use your paper just to test to see what you think of the colors. And see, there I pushed too hard, there I didn't push very hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop a few of these. There's a large and a small flower image. I'm just gonna pop a few of these around the card. And then I think I might pop some pink. So I'll just clean that. You don't want to mix your colors. And just tapping it on the paper just double checks that I don't have any other color. I have a little around the edge on that one. And now I will do the polished pink, which is quite pretty. Oh, I'm liking the look of that. And then a few little ones. Very cute. And I will just finish off with a bit of pale papaya. Might as well get all those pretty floral colors in. Pop one there. Trying to decide where to put things. That's the hard part. Oh, so that didn't come out quite as well. So there we go. So got some flowers and a little saying in there. I think I went a little overboard with the flowers, but it's fun to play with the stamps. And I'm just thinking I need a pink one up in the corner. You can, if you're not aware of it, you can actually ink up. If it's a small stamp, you can ink it up with that opened. Yeah, I think that just finishes that corner off. So that's the inside. And clean those stamps. So that's the inside of my card. And just stick that down. A bit of glue around the edges. And there, inside done. Okay, so now on to the outside. So we'll get the tape part done. So what you need, as I said, is a non-tacky tape. And so that's just, I think they call it low tack as well, or low stick. So it's not super sticky. You do not want to do this with just normal like sellotape. And then open your color fully. And so we're going to be using the full pad, and we're going to get the interesting texture from the tape. So you just need it big enough to go half the pad. Actually, I was just thinking to do this slightly different. The card I did before, I started on the bottom and I worked my way up, and then I had a lot of white space. So I actually, as you can see, I cut that card down to fit. So to do it differently, I'm going to start in the middle of the card and then work either way, so it'll be nice and even. And if you don't have grid paper, it's a great investment to get into, because one side has your metric measurements and the other side has your imperial measurements. So you can line things up perfectly within the grid. So this is 10 centimeters wide, so I've got here at the top there's a 0, and off to the right hand side there's a 0. The other side's 0 starts at the bottom corner. So you can put 5 centimeters either side and slide that down. And I'm just going to mark the 5 centimeter marking here, and then 5 centimeters is there. And then this is 14.3, so it'll be just over 7 centimeters. So on this side of the grid, I've got just over 7 centimeters on either side. And if I slide that over, I can see the 7 centimeter mark is right around there. And then this is right around there. And so I'm just marking out on the grid where it would be centered. And that way I can start my taping here in the middle and then work either side to get it more evenly spaced, unlike my original one. So now back to the colors. So I've decided to change up the colors as well. So I'm going to go with, I'm trying to decide what did I decided to go with, that's the bottom, there's the next, the center is going to be, going to start with the same center, but I'm just going to change the top. So the same center is pale papaya. So open it fully and take your tape, make sure it's a bit longer than the width of your card. So you're going to hold both sides of it. Bring this down here to show you. Hold both sides of it, put it over. Now depending on which direction you go, you get a different width of ink, and then you can just gently use your finger to push there to get the ink onto the tape. So depending on how much you push, you'll get a different effect. You could use a block if you want and rub the block along there to get more pressure on there, but I just want it to have, and then when you peel it up, so you've got the tape there, and I just think I want a little bit more up the top. Okay, so you're going to get the texture of the tape when you put it down. And then this one, I want it to be centered, and see, it's slightly smaller than my white cardstock, so I'm just eyeballing it to have the same amount of white on both sides. And pop it down. I see there's a cat hair in there. That'll give me an interesting effect. Pop it down where you want it. Rub it into place and then just peel it off. There you go. So it's going to come up different every time depending on how much pressure you put on there. But that gives it the kind of interesting texture. When you're done, unless you're going to use the same color again, throw it away so you don't get ink everywhere. So take that one off, put that aside. So that's the center. And then moving out from the center, I want to have the soft succulent below. Oh, no. I'm going to go to the very bottom and the very top, and then I will just fill in the gap in the center. So the very bottom is the evening evergreen. And I don't really need to keep it in place any longer because I've already done my central part. So again, make sure your tape is bigger than your paper and your pad, holding both edges. Trying to make sure it's in the camera. A lot of cat fluff here. Put it down and then just gently rub along the edge so you get as much effect as you want on your ink. Peel it up and then put it where you want. So I want this down the bottom, and I'm going to give it kind of about the same even space. I'm going to try. Once it's down, just give it a good rub. Doesn't matter at this stage because if it's low-tech tape, it's not going to rip your paper. There you go. See, that one came out more even and square because I gave it better pressure around the edges. So that one's much squarer in the center. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the top. And in this one at the top, I'm going to go with the polished pink. I'll turn it around to make it easier. So the top's the bottom. Again, tape bigger than your paper. So if I wanted, I could have smaller strips if I went that way, but I want it to go the whole width of my paper. Okay, and so again, and I don't know, yeah, you can kind of see on the, so you can see where the ink is actually sticking to the tape, so you can just gently rub over those areas where you can see it's not very dark. So hopefully you can tell in the video. So I can rub over the parts that aren't very dark, and I know the ink has stuck to the tape. And then just peel it up. And then again, I'm trying to get even coverage. So that looks good. Once you decide where to put it, just rub over it and then peel it off. Ooh, that's giving me some interesting little textures on that. As I said, it's different every time. Oh, trying to get the tape thrown away without getting color all over me. And I'll do my last two. So, the fresh freesia is going to go next. Again, pop your tape down. I think I did that a bit crooked. Yeah, that's better. Peel it up. And so now, because I start at top and bottom, I can try to give an even spacing between these two. And then I won't have to cut my card down. And then peel it up. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Well, it's not supposed to peel the card up, but that's okay. I can fix that. I will hide that under one of my images when the time comes. That's what not to do. You learn everything from my videos. Now, if I haven't mentioned it already, this is a global monthly video hop, so if you look in the description below, you'll see links to other demonstrators that are participating in the video hop, and you can click the links to see some other great ideas from demonstrators around the world using techniques. I'm not sure what techniques they're using because we just create our own videos independently, and quite often they all come out completely different. So if you want to see some other fabulous techniques, have a look below in the description. I will also put a link to all the products that I'm showing. Okay, so let's try to do this without ripping. There we go. I don't know why that one ripped. It's misbehaving, I guess. Okay, so I could glue that down possibly. I might try to stick that down, but I'll fix that later. I could even just do the other side. So I'll fix that up later. That's the technique for the tape. Now, one of the techniques for coloring your images is using the block. So my original one I used pens, which is kind of a obvious way to do it. But another way to do it is using your blocks and the ink pads. Now the one thing, if you're going to do that, is you need to have clean ink pads. Now I don't know if you can quite see, there's a few marks there. You see those marks under my fingers? So, ink pads. Sorry, clean blocks. So you need to have clean blocks for this technique, because if I were to ink that up, those splotches would show up where I stand. So you need to clean your blocks, and the best way to do that, you can use a wet wipe. That works pretty well. And so once you clean them, you need to make sure that they're nice and clear and no splotches. But another good way to clean them is with hand sanitizer. So you see this has got some dark blots there. That's from glue usually. And what you can do is you just put some hand sanitizer on and rub it around, and it just, you can immediately see some of the bits are getting stuck in the hand sanitizer and coming up straight away. So next time you're cleaning your hands with hand sanitizer, rub them against a block. So you can just rub them around the block. I think that one's pretty clean. I think I pre-cleaned these guys. Now that one's a bit dirty. And then you can even rub blocks on blocks, so you don't waste your hand sanitizer. And you'll see how clean this is going to come out. And then you could wipe it off just with a gentle cloth. I'm actually going to use a wet wipe. That's another way you can clean blocks, but I find using the wet wipes, you have to scrub those glue spots. So, ooh, that's looking really good. Let's just take some of that for the back side. So, double duty hand sanitizer. Clean your hands, keep you safe, and clean your blocks. So I will just rub that and show you the effect. So I'm not sure if you can see. Before I had quite a few gluey blobs on there. It's still a bit wet, but I had some gluey blobs that I'd have to scrub a bit with the wet wipe to get away, but using hand sanitizer they rub right off. It's fabulous. So that's how you clean your blocks, which you want to make sure are sufficiently clean before we start. And then you choose your colors. So I've got different size blocks because I'm got different size images to color. So I'm going to, they all dry. So I'm going to use different ones. So with the stems, I want to use the greens. And because they are stems, I want to, I'll use the skinny block. This is the G block, because I can get those little skinny parts much easier. And so I'm going to have both my greens open and see what I want to go with. So it gives you an interesting effect. So what you do is kind of like the tape. You just gently touch the block onto the pad, and then you can just put it where you want. And see how I'm getting interesting image. So it's not fully covered. And the more you put on, the more coverage you can get. So I'm just going to do a bit more. And because it's a skinny block, I can control how far up I'm going on the die cut. Okay. And I think I will do this one the same, the soft succulent. So because this one's a bigger image, I'm going to use a different block. So I'm using, just tap it on there a few times. You definitely want to have paper underneath if you're doing this. I'm just going to do this all. And see, I can even see there, I rubbed the block and it gave me a more solid image as to just setting the block on there. So basically you're using the block to paint. Another way you could do it is to set your images directly onto the ink and press into them, but that tends to soak up too much ink and you might get a very dark image. Kind of like the way this one's come out with the rubbing. Just want a little bit more color up there. There we go. And so it's getting light as it dries. And if you're going to change colors, make sure you clean your blocks. You simply wipe them on your chamois till they're clean. This one, I think I'll see how that comes out. So you can get definitely different looks depending on how you use your block. I'm liking the looks of those. Looks quite good. Now I'm going to change over to the Evening Evergreen. Get me some dark colors in here. And I want it to be a bit darker, so I'm going to give it a bit of a rub. Now I've just put the top of the block in just to get some color in certain areas. It gives me a very dark area. Now I'm not going to be able to come in there with the block because it's too delicate, so I'm going to use the pen, one of the pens, to do that. And here I just want to have a different look. And I will just dab a bit to give a different look on that stem there. So you can see how all three look completely different depending on how I pushed with my block. So now let's put some color in. So I will color this top bit here. The parts I've missed because you can see that the stems go right up to the flowers, so I'm just going to color that with the Evening Evergreen. And you can see there's a big difference coverage wise if I use a pen versus the block. So I'm just going to color that in just up to the edge of the flowers. And then I might color down the stem to make it more consistent. So showing you lots of different ways to color your die cuts. You could just leave them white or whatever color you wish to die cut them. So that would have looked quite nice on there as well. Okay, so I'm just going to finish, since I made it so solid up the top, I'm just going to finish the solid down the bottom. Now let's put some color on these flowers. So we're going to go with these different colors here. And I think I will do the big flower pink. No, I would stick with the pale papaya. There we go. Make sure it's clean. Bit of color there, and I'm just going to see. Look at how that nice speckly. I like the look of that. And then just a little bit to do the flower at the bottom. Oh, came out really nice. Bit of speckle there. Very pretty. And then I've got a bit of an idea. I'm thinking if I make this one more solid, I might be able to get some pink speckles on it. So that one I use the block to make it more solid. And now let's see if I can get some pink speckles on there. So just practice, okay. Oh, pink's quite juicy, so we'll just do a quick. Ah, wow, look at that. So I did the solid background and just one little go with the pink, and I've got a very interesting looking flower there. And now I want to add a bit of the lavender onto my other ones. Fresh freesia. So I'll put some fresh freesia. Now I'm going to try to do all of them in one go, so I got a bigger block here. And I'm just going to go and maybe swirl them. Ooh, quite interesting. Quite interesting look there. That looks quite lovely. So I think that will be it. Just thinking I should add a bit of pink in the center there. Oh no, I'll leave it because I've got some gems I can add to that. So I will do the gems in the center. Okay, so we need to put our card together. Oh, I have one more little stamp to do. This time I decided I was going to do the tag. So I will stamp the tag. My lovely flowers away. I'm going to stamp the word love on the little tag. Now I've pre-cut the tag. Hopefully I can line it up. If not, I'll have to go off camera and do it. I'm lining it up. And then I'm going to use the matching ribbon, the open weave ribbon in the polished pink. To tie the tag, I'm going to make it look like a bunch of flowers this time. So the tag, I think I will put the words fresh freesia. And let's see, let's check. Haven't used this one before. Thinking that might be a little light. Oh, yeah, it is a bit light. I think I'll try it in the darker color. So, might try just pink with pink. Yeah, I think the pink looks better. Okay, we'll go with that. And we can put the card together. I didn't do the butterfly. I lost the butterfly. So I had a half butterfly somewhere. And I was just thinking I might try that speckle effect on it. So I will do the butterfly. I think I will try to do it maybe the pink, maybe do some lavender with some pink speckles and see how that will look. So we'll do lavender. Ooh, whiteness. Ooh, that looks really lovely. Picked up the lines on the edge. I might leave that. Looks so good. Or I might try see, maybe the papaya. Just a bit of papaya. Oh, that made it quite dark actually. Still looks good though. Yep. Interesting look. Okay. I want to try other side, see how that would look. If I gave it more of a solid, maybe a more solid orange. And then try the fresh freesia. It's all an experiment. Yep. Come off. Okay, that's made an interesting looking butterfly. Okay, well, time to put the card together. Not plain. Let's put this card together. Clean the area so we can get working on putting the card together. All right. Okay, so I've cleared the decks and ready to put the card together. Now I went ahead and actually stamped on the other side because that rip was just too noticeable. So I've done the same thing with the tape on the other side. And now I've got all my beautiful images here. So first thing is just stick the front on, make sure the card's going the right way up. And we'll stick it down, hiding my mistake. It's also why you stamp before you stick, because if something happens, there's two sides to every piece of card. So you can just turn it over and try again. So that one is going to fit with just a bit of an edge. Get my bone folder here to smooth out my edges there. So you could stamp your colors in any way you want. I just changed out the top two colors for this card here. And then I'm going to arrange this bouquet style with some of the darker greens in the background. Now this one I'm going to do slightly different in that I'm going to try to tie it like a bouquet. I think I'll put this one on the front. So you just need to pay a bit of attention to your layering. So I'm looking at what colors are in the background as I arrange my bouquet and which flowers go where in the foreground. So trying to make it so something's not overpowering something else. So I'm going to attempt to tie a bow on this guy. And I like to tie with the ribbon still on the roll because then you would waste less ribbon. So I kind of like the look at that. I might pick that up gently. And if I tie it gently, I should still be able to splay out my bouquet. So I just want a little tie down here. And tying things on camera is always more difficult than tying it on your own. So I'm just going to tie that a bit loosely and then rearrange things. Kind of like the look of that. I can always use dimensionals and things to place it better in the background. Yeah, something is sticking down for that one. And I can always cut things off if I don't like how far it's going down. I'm trying to figure out which one that is. This one here. I see the issue. I'm going to snip that little piece off so I can slide it up a bit more. Nobody's going to see that. And then maybe I can slide that up. That's better. Okay. I'm liking that a bit better down the bottom. Okay. And I will. Okay, so now I'm just going to try to put that through. Little tip I have for you. Use a twist tie and get your ribbon, poke it through the folded part. So folded the twist tie, poke it through that part, and then use the top to thread it through where you want it to go. So I'm just threading that through, and it should pull the ribbon through. I'm just going to open that up a bit. So if you've got a small hole that you're having difficulty going through, use your twist tie and it will pull the ribbon through the hole. There you go. And then you can reuse your twist tie. So I got that there. I might have not given myself enough ribbon to tie a bow, we shall see. Tie my bow the wrong way around. Turn it upside down if need be. Typical. Trying to do things on camera never works. Maybe. Probably the worst bow I've ever tied. I'm actually good at tying bows, believe it or not. Most people that come to my classes always ask me to tie their bows. Okay. Alright, there. Sort of a bow. Okay, oh, that's better. That's better. Don't know how well you can see the word love, but there, my bow is done. So we'll snip that off. Bit of an angle. And so we got our little love hanging off the side of our little bow. I'm just going to trim that one as well. And then we'll just spread our bouquet out and glue it down. So I'm going to glue the center down and then work on making the top look nice. So we'll just put some glue here on that ribbon, hold that in place. And then we can just work on spreading our flowers out where we want them to go. So I'll pop some glue on the back to hold my leaves in place. There is a method to my madness. So I'm just going to glue the greenery in place and then dimensionalize everything else. So pop the greenery down. And that back part should hold it in place. Now pop a few dimensionals on the back. So I'm just going to pop it on the back of my flower. Now it doesn't matter I bent my flower because it's going to be held in place with the dimensional. And then I might get some mini dimensionals for the rest of these guys. So I'll just pop a couple minis on here. I'm just going to snip these in half and make them smaller. You can do that with your dimensionals. Make them the size you want. I hope you're still with me. I'm taking a bit longer than expected. And on there. And then this one here, I think I might just pop a little glue to hold them in place over here. Stick this one up. So you want to place them so they're not distracting from the others. And that guy, I can just put a little glue on the purple petal to hold the orange flower in place. There we go. Oh, I just noticed I'm a bit off center. That's okay. The glue hasn't stuck yet. I can move it over. And then my little butterfly came out kind of interesting looking. I'm not sure yet where I'm going to place him. I want to put some jewels on, so the in colors have jewels, and that's why I decided not to worry about the center of that flower, because I'm going to use my in color jewels to put some bling on there. So I'm thinking pink might be good to pop in there. Put a big one, and then maybe a couple small ones. Yeah. Either side. So this is one of those where I kind of knew what I was going to do, but I changed it up. So hopefully you're still with me now. I think that these would look good with a little sparkle of yellow. Just to define the center of those flowers. And then just wondering about putting some bling on my little butterfly. Let's see what purple looks like on the top. No, not good. That's the thing, you can decide what you want to do. And I think I'll pop that guy right there. Actually, I might put it right there so it can cover up some of the bits sticking out. And I'll just put a large dimensional on that one. Cut a large dimensional down, pop it onto there, and we are almost done. Bend the wings up a little bit, give it some dimension, and pop it right in there. So it looks like it's just about to land on the flower. So there you go. So hopefully you've stuck with me and enjoyed that. So there is the card. There's my original card done with the Stampin' Bright markers. And there's the other one done with the blocks. They both have the masking tape technique in the background. And then I chose to have those words on the inside there and those words there. So hopefully you enjoyed this Global Monthly Video Hop. Look in the description below to click the links to watch the other videos with different techniques you can learn this month. And if you like that, please give me a thumbs up. You can go to my blog for more inspiration from other cards and projects I've done in the past. And if you live in New Zealand, contact your demonstrator to order. If you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love to help you out. So you can go to michellekritchley.stampinup.net to order directly from me. So I hope you enjoyed that. And again, that was using the Meadow dies and the Quiet Meadow stamp set. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time at another Global Monthly Video Hop next month. Bye!